Hello, everyone. This is Brian. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the oftentimes awful product that ChatGPT produces when you ask it to write about certain things, particularly in an academic setting. And I think this is really important for everybody to realize because more and more people are relying on these tools to create written work. And although this is a tricky thing for me to say, I'm just going to say it. I don't necessarily think banning ChatGPT or saying you 100% can't use it is the way to go. That's my opinion. However, one of the things I try to explain to my students is that you are responsible for what it actually produces. And depending on what is produced, many times ChatGPT just doesn't cut it so far as facts, which is disturbing for a whole other reason that we'll get to in the next module. But what I want to do today is walk through a sample of a chat GPT produced essay that I just created. And I want to explicitly explain what the problems are and why, if you turn this in, you would probably fail. Um, so I want to back up for a second and say that I also teach a variety of other courses at the college, and I do teach some literature. And increasingly over the last year and a half, I am definitely getting significant work that has just been cut and paste from ChatGPT, which is something you absolutely do not want to do. And we're going to talk about that in a minute as well. I'm going to walk you through, like, again, a essay that I just produced here on a play that I teach in one of my other courses. It's called Schoolgirls, or the African Mean Girls play. In summary, it is about a group of young women who are students at a boarding school in Ghana, who are about to compete for the Miss Universe pageant to represent Ghana. It is a play that is about colorism. It is a play that is about insecurity. It is a play about Western beauty standards. And obviously, one of the things I ask my students to do is to include quotes from the play to support their argument that they are writing about. So here's the essay that was produced. I want to kind of point out right away one of the big red flags are these subheaders that are produced throughout, especially even when I am asking it to write an essay. Immediately when I see this in an essay or even like in a spoken presentation, this is a giant red flag to me because this is just not how we write, putting these headers, right? Unless we're writing something highly academic for, like, let's say a science journal, this is not natural to use these types of headers in an assignment. But let's dive a little closer. What's become more and more, I would say, nuanced with ChatGPT is that it can produce a relatively solid thesis, but it sounds very generic. There's not a lot of distinct examples. When I'm taking a look here, this is not a horrible opening paragraph. I will totally admit it. However, there's nothing specific about what actually is happening in this play when you look at it. And Jocelyn Bio's play, Schoolgirls, or the African Mean Girls play, colorism is portrayed as a central theme, vividly illustrating how it shapes identity, self-worth, and social dynamics within a group of young Ghanaian schoolgirls. It's okay. It's not badly written, but it doesn't really dive into the play, right? Here's what I really want to go into where you would probably get an instantaneous 0 if you were to turn this in. One of the things that ChatGPT is not good at all, is incorporating direct quotes into a body of writing. There are a couple different things that happen. If you ask it to write about something more factual, like to explain a certain process in the medical profession and include quotes from experts, what tends to happen is that the quotes that are used are completely generic and have nothing to do with the actual topic at hand. That's one. The other thing that oftentimes happens in a more factual based analysis that ChatGPT produces is that they will give a quote, attribute it to somebody, but once you do research, either A, that person doesn't exist, or B, nowhere did that person say the quote. Um, that's pretty problematic. But even worse, in certain subjects like literature, like English, many times the quotes are just completely made up. We see this right here. We look at the second paragraph. I know you've not read the play, but I can tell you, someone who knows the play and teaches the play. We get a quote here. This is evident when Paulina dismisses her friend's suggestion that Erica could be a strong contender for the pageant, saying, "We all know that only girls like me can win." This quote is nowhere in the play. It is nowhere in the play. This is not even paraphrased in the play. Okay. Um, so here we have a completely fake quote that was never in the text. We scroll down to the next paragraph. Not only do we have another one of those quotes that's never in the play, but even some of the facts about the play are wrong. All right. Um, so her lighter complexion is perceived as inherently superior, and the headmistress, who was also Ghanaian, even suggests that Erica would be a more suitable candidate to represent the school and the nation on the global stage. Well, that's completely false, 100%. In the play, the headmistress is actually really, really angry about the process, and is actually pushing for the other character, Paulina, to win. Never does this character say, Erica has a look that they are looking for. That is not a quote from the play, and it has nothing to even do with the centralized plot. So here we go, two paragraphs back to back where there are fake quotes that are not in the source material. That's pretty bad when you're looking at this from a factual point of view. All right. There are other instances too, like the use of bleaching cream is in the play. It's actually one of the centralized things that's discussed, but never does the darker skin begin to peel and scar. That's not how bleaching cream even works to begin with. And it's again a totally factual inaccuracy about the play. Again, we have another quote that is not accurate. Amma confronts Paulina saying, "You made us feel bad for not being good enough, but really it is you who isn't good enough." That's not from the play. It's never in the play. It was never said. So on paper, when you look at this, the writing's relatively solid, minus a lack of nuance throughout. And it does make certain good points about the play. But overall, it's instantaneously fraud. It uses quotes that aren't in the play. It messes up key plot points that are central to what's happening in this play, like the headmistress rooting for one of the characters versus for the other. And it really lacks a sense of giving distinct details about other things in the text that drive the argument home. So in many cases, using Chat GPT is not going to produce for you an adequate response. And I think that is important to realize. However, I'd be remiss if I said that I know we are going in a direction where Chat GPT is being utilized and um, almost leaned upon in certain cases in the workplace, even some cases academically. So in the next video that I'm going to share, I'm going to talk about some ways you can take text that is produced by ChatGPT and use it as the basis, but not the core, all right, of a piece of rhetoric.